It's time for Book Show with your host, the irascible yet easily influenced Danny Marks. Hit it, Danny! Long time no see. I'm not even gonna explain why it's taken me so long to get this damn video up. Let's just get on with the book, Rex. Go, do it. First up is Texas Gothic by Rosemary Clement Moore. Underneath my finger there. The cover and the title suggest a very darkly mysterious book. But it turns out that this was a relatively light and fun read. A mystery set on a cattle ranch with witches and ghosts and lots of other stuff. And even a little romance. I was pleasantly surprised. And Rosemary Clement Moore's voice is young and fresh. It has sort of this natural flair that you can't help but love. The protagonist, Amy Goodnight, and her sister Finn, to a lesser extent, get into all sorts of trouble while house sitting for their aunt, who's a kitchen witch. The archaeological elements that are part of this story were really intriguing, and I think added quite a bit to the mystery. There was a general feel that this could have been written around the time of Nancy Drew. In fact, there are quite a few references to Nancy Drew in the book, which brings to mind a lot of nostalgic feelings for reading when I was a child. Let's get to a rating. I give Texas Gothic by Rosemary Clement Moore 4.5 moo cows. It's a cattle ranch. Bittersweet and dripping with nostalgia, Tess Hilmos with A Name Like Love, seen here looking adorable, delivers a difficult theme, domestic violence, in a unique setting, 1957 Arkansas. It's not exactly a buoyant economic time. So when Reverend Everlasting Love sets up his tent revival in Binder, he's come to a town divided by a recent murder. The protagonist of the story is the Reverend's daughter, Ollie Love. She quickly makes friends with a local boy who's embroiled in the murder case himself. Ollie's voice is empathetic and genuine. And the balancing act of the story and the setting and the time frame, it's all very Southern, in a way that brings to mind Flannery O'Connor's Grotesques. And if you haven't read Flannery O'Connor, you definitely should. I feel like there are several nods to her work here. I found myself devouring the story in a matter of hours, and I've recently done an interview with the author, which is going to appear on the Apocalypse site the week, I think it's going to be on September 27th. For all these reasons and more, I give Tess Hilmos with A Name Like Love 5 Bible beaters. You're getting my devil background for this review of The White Tiger by Aravinda Diga, appropriate considering it's about a psychotic killer telling his story to the Premier of China. In letters. That's probably why I had such a hard time getting into it initially. I'm not a big fan of epistolary novels, and those are novels told in letters. And you can thank one book, one review, for telling me what epistolary actually means. But now I'm going to pepper it through my speech liberally. I don't like the tell quality of it. I don't like to be told a story. I like to be shown it through scenes and descriptions and things like that. And for a good portion of the beginning of this novel, I felt kind of a wall between me and the book, because it was primarily done through tell. And it took about, I want to say almost halfway, when something happened that was so intense that I was compelled to finish the book. It is very thought-provoking. It's sort of very damning about governments and failing systems and things like that. The takeaway from the novel can be just as much related to our own systems as it is to the burgeoning economy in India. It's really quite interesting. And for those reasons, I give Aravinda Diga's The White Tiger 4 bowls of spicy hot chana masala, because I'm hungry.
This week on the Chamber of Horrors, I decided to read something romantic. Amy Garvey's Cold Kiss. When her boyfriend Danny is killed in a tragic and awesomely gory accident, Ren, like the bird, brings his dead corpse back to life so they can make out. It's perfect. It's so romantic. But it got me thinking about my own relationship, and that's bad. Father! Oh, what does she want now? Daddy!
Renesmee, you know I sparkle in the field from 3:30 to 4:45.
I'm on a very tight schedule. It's Jacob. He's bringing fleas home again. I feel stuck and restless. Why couldn't I have been imprinted on a nice zombie boy? Jacob's always scratching and bringing fleas into the bed. It's like a New York hotel room. Instead of room service, I get rabies. Relationships are difficult. Things better change, or I'm putting him down. A sigh. That brings us back to Cold Kiss by Amy Garvey. I give this one 5 dead werewolf boyfriends. Goodbye.
2 adult books in 1 month? Yeah. This second one, though, while it didn't win the Pulitzer, is likewise amazing. Matthew Norman's Domestic Violence. This is a satire on par with Tom Perrotta's Little Children or Election. He's my go-to guy. Tom Perrotta's my go-to guy for satire. What Matthew Norman's done is taken a sort of a standard premise, and that is the precariousness of a marriage. And he's filtered that through a cycle of domestic unease, a generational capriciousness, if you'll allow me to be pedantic for a moment. The story centers around Tom Violet, who is a copywriter at an advertising / we don't really know what it is. And neither does he, nor does he care. What he cares about at work is making fun of his coworker, who is intentionally anal, and the situations are absolutely hilarious. That's what initially drew me in. The voice is sarcastic and snarky, and you feel like you're going into something that's almost like a straight-up comedy. But in the end, it takes a serious look at relationships and marriages and how things change over time, and how it's the responsibility of both parties to make an effort to roll with those changes. I really love Domestic Violence, and I think it's one of those books that is going to stand the test of time. For those reasons, I give Domestic Violence by Matthew Norman 5 of those.
Next time on Book Show, Danny tackles horror.